Okay, so welcome to the Mainly Eminem show and the Just Shady fancast. This is a joint effort from ePro and the Mainly Eminem show. So, yeah, we've got a good show today. We're going to get in contact with some of our co-hosts first of all. So if you just bear with us a couple of seconds. Blake, can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear, fella.
Fantastic. Ross, how are you?
Not too bad, mate. You?
I'm good. And Jamie?
Yes, lads. What's happening?
Excellent. So we'll start off. Obviously, it is Eminem's 50th birthday, so 17th of October, 1972. So this is a show just to pay homage to him, talk about his career, talk about things that have gone on in the past, and then possible things in the future as well. So first of all, we'll talk about how he's all became fans of Eminem. So we'll start off yourself, Ross, if you can just tell us how it came about, what year it was, what album or what single it was that got you into him.
Yeah, so I mean, it was actually a curtain call because I was quite young and my dad had it in his car, and I used to see him on a Saturday, and he used to have this like wallet in his car full of CDs, and I always used to look for the curtain call disc, but he always used to make sure I never heard the first song, obviously being Fack. I was not old enough, so but yeah, I couldn't probably tell you. I'm gonna say, well, it would have been after curtain call release, so I was only about 9, maybe 8.
Mm-hmm. And the same with yourself, Blake, as well. What year did you get into Eminem's music?
Well, the first time I remember hearing it was in the height of, sort of the height of his Ja Rule beef. The first song I remember listening to was Go to Sleep, obviously from the Cradle to the Grave soundtrack. And obviously at the time I was very young, so me mum and dad didn't really want me listening to it, even though I memorised all the words. Didn't really want me listening to it. So then when I was a little bit older, again, similar to Ross when Curtain Call sort of came out, around Curtain Call, a little bit after that, that's when I really started getting into it.
Excellent, no, that's good. So, yeah, my story behind it was I think it was November 2000, and the Stan had just been officially released as a single. And yeah, my dad bought me the CD single at the time, and then I got the Marshall Mathers LP for my Christmas. So that it just kind of spun on from them, and then 2 years later, the Eminem show came out, and yeah, I've been a huge fan ever since. So we're going to try and get some people on to speak. We do have a couple of special guests joining us as well. So I'm just going to try and get through to a couple of you. So I have sent some requests for you to come on. Lazarus, can you hear me?
Yo, 1, 2, what's good with you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm doing blessed, man. Just in between hospitals right now, doing the doctor gig.
Yeah, man. I understand you're a busy man, so it's appreciated. So we'll just keep it, quite quick and simple.
Cool.
Just want to know from yourself. Obviously coming from Detroit yourself,
Yeah.
when did you first hear Eminem? Was it before he became in the mainstream, or was it back in underground days, or was it just through growing up in Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Detroit, I had actually heard about him before he blew up, and me being a underground MC and just kind of like, I've been doing this since the late '90s when I was in high school, so just to see like when he actually came out and started getting that notoriety was just incredibly inspirational for me because hip hop was like a passion of mine, and when I seen his record Role Model, that's when I really, really like became engrossly like a fan of what he was doing, and I just kind of like built from that. As I grew up, I was in a studio. I was mentored by Royce the 5'9", by D12. When I used to battle like 8 Mile style at the Shelter, the Magic Stick, different spots in Detroit. Proof used to judge me. Swifty used to be a judge, so it was like, seeing that whole movement, the D12 movement that came about, M coming and bringing Detroit, really stamping Detroit on the world map, to the levels that has never ever been done for our city. was remarkable, man. And so I'm just, I just feel like it's such a blessing to our city, to have Eminem representing, pure hip hop, true lyrical hip hop at the forefront, and just letting the whole world know that this is what Detroit is made of, and that very, very proud of that, man. Very, very proud.
That's a great story about D12 as well. So, yeah, when you were just coming up in the late 90s, I take it there was a lot of rappers going to the shelter as well. So there was quite a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of places. There was the Lush Lounge, the Shelter, the Magic Stick, Alvin's. I mean, there were so many different spots where MCs would come and battle each other. It was a different. Nowadays, it's not really as focused on that. Even with the battle market, it's different now than what it used to be. It used to be like they put a beat on and you freestyle, just like you see in 8 Mile. It's like that you just freestyle over a beat. It's not a cappella, and that's what I came up on as a battle rapper. And I was in college at the time, so I was university and just watching D12 just blooming all over the world, and then the beautiful thing is, like, then Proof would come back and then he'd be in the city interacting with all the underground MCs, and just nurturing that relationship. It was just awesome to see, because New York is really where hip hop always had it still is the mecca of hip hop as far as MCs. But to have Eminem and D12 really push Detroit on the map the way they did, really opened doors for many countless MCs from the city.
Excellent. What was Proof like to, like, if you were there? Was he sort of like nurturing the talent to try and get people to?
Yeah, he was
freestyle?
He was a mediator. He was a bridge. Like, he would be on stages in front of the largest crowds with Eminem, but then when he came back to Detroit, he actually he took the time to listen to the underground MCs and actually nurtured them and actually gave them advice and feedback. Like, he was a blessed individual, because he actually devoted that kind of commitment to the underground. He really cared about it. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm on the road and I'm traveling the world. He actually came back and said, you know what? Let me see what kind of MCs, what they're doing out here in Detroit, and he actually cared. And that was a beautiful thing, man. And I got that from all the other members too, man. Swifty, shout out to Swifty, Kaniva, Bazaar. I mean, these guys always looked out for the MCs in Detroit, man, to this day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, speaking about Eminem's music, you mentioned Role Model as well being like one of the tracks that you'd first heard. Do you have a favorite album if you were to choose?
I would say the album that hit me the most. I mean, I'm a fan of all, even like, nowadays people say, like, I like all the Eminems, because he's so technically proficient that I'm always learning from the way that he's putting his words and rhymes together, because nobody does it like that. So it's always just like a great thing to experience no matter what. But personally, I think my favorite album, just from a listening experience from beginning to end, will probably be the Marshall Mathers LP, because the story and the narrative that's there, it was just so impactful, especially during that time.
No, quite right. And you said that you've also you've collaborated with Royce in the past as well. What's he like to work with?
Yeah, Royce the 5'9", I actually we used to record at the same studio together with a mutual engineer. His name's Ivy Duncan. So I would be in there and always learning from him, man, and he would always be giving me guidance and things like that. We've worked on numerous records before. I'm actually working on a record with him as we speak. We're actually working on something like just a couple of days ago. So I got a new project coming out. It's got Royce on there. It's got D12 on there. That I'm really excited about. But Royce is, to answer your question, Royce is just he's the top tier MC. I mean, I think he's one of the greatest MCs on the planet right now. Along with M. I mean, it's just so much to learn. There's so much to soak in.
No, absolutely. So, listen, I won't keep you long, but just a final question. What are you looking forward to seeing from Eminem in the future? Of course, we've got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
Congratulations to that, and happy 50th birthday. It's in hip hop, you have rappers that come in and they have their time. They come in for like a few years and they create a mark. And then, when you see somebody who withstands the test of time, like Eminem has, like Tech 9, even like I was talking to Tech 9, and he's 50 now. So it's like, to be 50 years old and to still be on top of your game, to still be on top of your pen game and second to none with the way you put your words together, that's inspirational to me because that people always say, oh, there's an age limit on hip hop. Nah, there ain't no age limit. Like you could be like I could see M being 60 and out rapping everybody in their 20s. So that's
Yeah,
inspiration. That's inspirational, man. That's like Floyd Mayweather stuff right there.
yeah, because you see, like even recently, Paul McCartney he headlined Glastonbury over in the UK, and like he's 80 years of age. So like, yeah, there generally is no age limit in music just now. It's just how you feel, and I think absolutely if Eminem wants to, he could definitely go on for another 5, 10 years easily.
Yeah, I don't think there's to be honest, I don't think there's a limit. I think Eminem is so passionate about hip hop that I don't think he'll ever retire. I don't think he's ever gonna want to stop. I mean, I just you could hear it. Every time you hear that, brother, he always sounds like he's got all this gas in his fuel tank. It's just
Yeah.
not going away.
So
So it's
so
beautiful. It's
finally,
inspirational, man. Much love and respect to M. Much love and respect to everybody from Detroit. Shout out to Nathan Mathers. That's my brother right there, man.
yeah,
Shout out to this whole D12 squad, Royce the 5'9", all EMCs in Detroit, man. Detroit versus that's what we say, man. Detroit versus everybody. Because we're always pitted against everybody. We're like the underdog.
yeah.
And just to show that, hey, look, this is what we got. This is where we come from, the murder capital, and we throw it down. And like me, I'm a doctor, but hip hop is my passion. And when I see rappers like M and Tech and these guys like rapping in their 50s, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna rap till I'm 70, 80, whatever.
No, absolutely, man. Now, listen, thank you very much for joining
For
us. It's
sure.
appreciated.
Appreciate it,
We're
man. I
due.
appreciate all you guys do, man. You guys are a great site, man. I follow you guys heavy.
Thanks. Well, we're also doing. We've got a show called the Mainly Eminem Show that's on Spotify as well. So if you're up for it in the future, we'll reach out to you and we'll get you on for a proper in-depth conversation.
Sounds good, man. Salute, guys. Happy birthday, Eminem. 50 years old, still killing the whole game.
Thank you very much, Lazarus. Cheers.
All right, peace.
So thank you very much to Lazarus for that. We now have another special guest coming on. We have Lone Star Music, who has collaborated on 2 occasions with Eminem, and we're just connecting to him. So just bear with us, please. Lone Star, how are you?
Yo, what's going on?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel like we've recently spoke to each other. Of course, we've done the Kamikaze show
Yes, sir.
over on
Yes, sir.
the podcast, and as it stands just now, it is our highest viewed episode. So we do need to shout out to yourself for that because you definitely helped get the views
Man,
for that
that's super
episode.
dope, man. It was an honor, bro.
No, it was good, and it was really, really good to just, find out what you said about, the beginnings of Normal. So for those that might have not tuned in for that show, if you could just give us a little glimpse of how the track Normal came about.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, it's definitely it was definitely tied to my big homie, man, my brother, Symbolic One. It all started like in 2016, man. I just started on the idea on my YouTube channel. And some years later, whenever I connected with Symbolic One, I was just sitting on the idea for a long time, kind of revamped it and sent it to him. And yeah, man, out of the first batch of beats that I sent S1, man, that was like one of the joints that he jumped on. And it was right when he, obviously started. He went right in after the revival and got started on Kamikaze like crazy.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that the beginnings of the drum started on your YouTube
Yep.
page back in, was it 2016, 2017 maybe?
2016, yep.
And then it just obviously became just built up from there as well. So
yeah,
what I wanted to talk to you about Discombobulated because we never really covered that on like the last time we spoke, just because it was the Kamikaze episode. So
right.
If you can just describe of like how that came about, how the beat was, just how it all came about.
Yeah, man, crazy enough, I started that idea, I want to say in like July of 2018. So like a month before Kamikaze came out. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's actually crazy. Like when I started on it, I was like, oh man, this sounds like Marshall. Like this shit is just it's crazy. You know what I mean? And that's literally where it went. You know, I sent it out over to S. S did what he did. You know, and we was trying to catch. We was sending so many ideas at that time because it was like like we said, just nearing the close of Kamikaze or whatever. So we was just sending like ideas like every day, man.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshall obviously was still eating, like he was still recording, and you know, getting just a lot of ideas done. So man, it's tons of records that Marshall got, man. But he definitely picked that one, and
Yeah.
that you know that idea sat for like a good little minute, man. Maybe like all the way to like 2020. You know, I was kind of when he had rolled out the music to be murdered by, or you know, kind of alluded to. Well, nah, it wasn't even a surprise then. It was when they rolled that out, it was like outright. You know what I'm saying? The first
Mm-hmm.
music to be murdered by. And I was kind of like anxious. I was like, man, is it gonna be on this one? I was really, really excited, man. And then when it came out, I was kind of disappointed it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But who knew? Later on down that year, he doubled back and pulled that idea out, and then blended it with you know, a record from Dre, and then and the rest of the guys, and then a record from Black Beethoven,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned into this you know, this collage of just it seems like all of the eras of Eminem. You know what I mean?
It just starts off with like the accent, and everyone's going, "Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
he's back.
yeah.
He's back with it," because that was, you know, there's a mixed reaction about Eminem's accents.
Yep.
Nowadays, people do like it a lot, but then Eminem didn't really like it at the time, and still, I think he said in a previous interview with Paul that it went too far. But what's your views on Eminem's accents on this track and Relapse in general?
Man, I mean the shit was just hilarious, dude. Like I loved it. You know what I'm saying? Like old dude was saying earlier, man. I love every single era of M's style, man. Even when he was just having fun, you know what I mean, with the voice, you know, the voices and stuff like that, man. Like I've never been really disappointed in what he does, you know what I mean. He always does it to the highest of his, you know, to the highest level, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. So I always had respect, even when he was clowning around. It's like, you know, at that point, it's like what else more could he do, you know what I'm saying, other than just have fun with it, you know?
That's what it's all about these days. He doesn't have to prove anything nowadays. You know,
Yeah,
he's done everything. Like he obviously he's been quite busy this year as well with the Super Bowl at the start of the year,
yep,
and then the greatest hits came out in August time, and then you've got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So like
yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
huge.
You forget that he's done just about everything, but then you forget about other little things that comes about, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that'll be
Right.
interesting. And 8 Mile also hits 20
Yeah,
years, I think it is as well. So
yeah,
it's it's,
man.
it's looking good as well for next year because there's a lot of rumours, especially in the UK media, that potentially could be headlining Glastonbury next year as well. So that's
Mm.
something to possibly get excited about as well. But still
Awesome.
early days. Just not don't want to keep you too long, so I've got just another question,
Sure.
um, just based on you know your own personal preference. If you had to choose a favorite Eminem album, what would you choose and why?
Man. Uh I'm gonna have to agree with Lazarus, man. It has to be Marshall Mathers LP, you know, and because like, man, it was just an amazing project. Like I think that was like definitely during the start of the time when I was like creating music as well, you know, at the tender age of like, man, when I was
Mm-hmm.
like maybe like 13, 14 at that time.
Yeah,
And you know, just what he did on it inspired me so much. You know, it inspired me so much, man. It was like, dang, this is crazy. The beats from Dre was crazy. the verses on there, from Exhibit to Snoop to,
and the
just
features
bro,
were
it
just
was
unbelievable as well. Yes,
bro, it was
and
crazy. The Way
even
I Am, like that shit was huge, dude. Like, I
yeah,
remember watching TRL and all that shit. Like, man, this video is nuts. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was a hell of an
the shock
experience.
value was just the shock value was something else. Like I was like possibly what age was I, 9 or 10 when it came out. So at the
Man,
time it's hard to take it all in, but then when you get older and you listen to it again, you kind of go, "Holy fuck, that's something
right?
else."
Yeah, bro. It was a cool experience. You know what I mean? And crazy enough, like, man, who would imagine, like, some years long down the line, I would have the opportunity to work with him, not only once but twice. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
nuts,
man.
dude.
And hopefully more to come. I seen S1 on Instagram earlier, just kind of putting all the tracks that he helped produce, and then just right at the bottom, more to come. But you did say
Oh
there
yeah,
on our
definitely. Devil is
Kamikaze
green.
show that there is more in the vault. So yeah,
Yep.
fingers crossed for it. Eh?
Yeah, man. Heck
Right,
yeah,
start.
man.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we will hear from you very soon, no doubt.
Yes, sir, man. Definitely. Shout out to you guys. Definitely happy birthday to Marshall himself, man. Keep keep sharing his gift with the world, man, and keep blessing us, man, with this tremendous talent. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah,
thank you guys and peace, y'all.
yeah, man. Take care. Cheers, bro.
Yep.
So, yeah, thank you very much to Lone Star as well. So, lads, we'll have his back on. I was, opening kind of the first question. Jamie, if you can hear us, I just want to find out when you became an Eminem fan, what year it was, and how was it?
Yeah, thinking back when I was at school, back in primary school, I'd always hear songs on the radio like "Without Me," sort of the radio played singles. But I'm like the guys. To be fair, I think the first album my mum let me get was Curtain Call, and I played it I played it the first time in her car, and she was like, "Oh my God, the language this man is using! I can't. You're not listening to this." And then I made a deal with her. If I went back and learned all the songs and where the curse words were, if I was to turn it down in the car at that point, he was about to swear, then I could listen to it in the car. So I had to go back, recite it all,
Your radio was
turn
never
it
on.
down. Hey.
Your radio was never on then.
Certain songs couldn't be played, but no, I think I also remember watching the Way I Am music video. I think that song, even to this day, as I've got older, I've like you were just saying, Dan. When you get older, you understand it more. I appreciate the older stuff a lot more now. But obviously, when you're younger, and like I said, my mum was quite strict about what I could and couldn't listen to. I didn't have that opportunity to go and buy these albums for the parental guidance reasons. Do you know what I mean? When the Marshall Mathers come out, I would have been 6. So
Yeah,
to say to my mum, "Oh, can I go and buy an Eminem album?" She'd be like, "Absolutely not. What do you think you're doing?" But now that I'm older, obviously from the Curtain Call onwards to go back and listen to all them albums and to where we are now, I think that would probably be the starting point.
yeah. No, that is a good story. But yeah, it's amazing like how everyone's sort of different. Different age groups. I was reading something on Twitter the other day, and they only really got into Eminem, I think, just after Kamikaze as well. I was like, wow, like even to this day, like still getting a lot of fans. As late on as this. So we'll have you all on anyway, lads. Like you can unmute your little mics, and we'll just get everyone on for a proper chat.
Yeah.
So awards wise, we're having a little look about how many awards Eminem's won, and yeah, there's quite a lot. There's 17 Billboard awards, 16 EMAs, 15 Grammys, 13 VMAs, 1 Oscar, 1 Emmy. So yeah, it's quite a lot there. Is there any that you remember, lads? Any sort of award shows that you remember? watching at the time, thinking, right, okay, he's going to win this.
Is it the Brits? I used to watch him at the Brits a lot. I remember because I think that was a thing in my household, watching the Brit Awards. I know he's won a few of them, isn't he?
Yeah, like four Brit Awards.
Well, what award show was it when he went at Moby? I think that was a funny time.
That was I think it was the MTV Awards.
Yeah, he started cussing him out on the stage.
And that's how that track "Without Me" ended
Yeah,
up coming from that as
I
well.
remember
But
them.
yeah, the one that I remember quite notably was that same show, Jamie, that you were talking about, because at that moment in time he'd had a run-in with Christina Aguilera, and she came up and then ended up giving out the award
That
for
was it.
best male.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and he's just sitting there on the chair, and he's not even moving for like a couple of seconds, and everyone's standing up and clapping. He's just like, "Oh, I've got to go up and accept this," and then he just kind of strolls up. So I always remember.
Do you know what one I like as well? If I watch it now to this day, it still gives me chills. I'm sure it was the BET Awards when he come out with Busta Rhymes. Obviously, he'd gone off the face of the earth, hadn't he? And then he come out for the Touch It remix. And
Was that 2006?
Yes, yeah, that was it. And when you just see everyone in the line and they're looking up to the screen, obviously he's underground at the time, and the platform comes up. It's like, who is it? No one can make out who it is, and then just the white boy pops up from the stage, and then everyone just goes mad. That gives me goosebumps when I see that.
I know, yeah. There was a lot of notable awards back in the day. The one, obviously, the most notable one was the Oscars, but he never appeared for that because he just didn't think he would win it. To be fair, so I think it was Louis Resto that ended up going up to collect it.
I think out of pure comedic effect, we have to sort of say the one with Salvatore Cohen, where his Bruno landed on him just as the angel, was it?
Yeah.
Arse in his face.
That's right. That is right. What year was that? It was just after Relapse.
2011, wasn't it?
That was after Relapse, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was after Recovery. It was in his press run for Recovery, I think.
Yeah, and everyone thought he was really pissed off with it, but then it was like turned out just to be a stunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember them.
Right, so we'll talk about the 8 Mile anniversary that is coming up in November. So I believe there is Xavi are doing an exclusive. So I don't know if any of you guys know about that.
No, I don't think I do. Is that the thing we were speaking about the other day about the collector's items?
I'll definitely be buying that. 100%, I'm buying that. Absolutely need to get that. There's a lot coming in there as well, like posters, photo cards. Yeah, I'm all over that.
Yeah, so anyone that's interested, it is available on Xavi. So you don't necessarily have to come from the UK or Ireland for that. I believe they do have a site in America as well. So yeah, it's 20th anniversary of 8 Mile, and you'll also get some postcards. I think you'll get the 4K HD option and the Blu-ray as well. So you will end up getting two from that as well. So yeah, lads, I'm just going to speak about quickly a show that we've done quite recently. That was about Kamikaze. Although we never had Jamie on for that show. So Jamie, just briefly, I just want a quick chat. What was your view on Kamikaze when it came out in 2018?
So when that come out, I remember it so clearly because I had to go to the hospital that morning, and I think the week before my Apple Music subscription had run out or something, or I stopped paying for it. I couldn't be bothered anymore, and I saw a tweet the tweet that he said when he said, "I'll try not to overthink this one," and I thought. I thought it was a album that he produced or something. I was like, I couldn't, because I'd just woken up. I was like, I can't. What's this? So I went on Apple Music, and then it was just it only gave me the previews because I didn't have it at the time. So I was like, shit, re-download it, resubscribe right now, and the whole way to the hospital, I'll just listen. I think I put the Ringer on repeat about 5 times, and Normal is one of my favorite songs on that album. I like the way that the beat changes. I think it's a great album to come back. You get the rage back. Greatest, that's a great song. Fall. Yeah, man, I love Kamikaze. Venom's a great song. Just a great album, to be honest with you.
Nah, excellent. Nah, too right, because at the time it was just total shock value when it came out as well, because it was Eminem's first surprise drop. So we'll leave Kamikaze and we'll go down to Revival. Blake, what is your overall view on Revival as an album?
Overhated. And I
agree with that.
I know it's going to cause a lot of aggro to some people which are listening, but it's one of them. It's the album, it's the content that people were asking for years and years and years, and then he gives you that content. I understand it was more from the American fan base, the UK fan base, from what I can gather, especially talking to you lads on the show and behind the scenes. In the UK it was quite well received, whereas obviously in the America you had the BET cipher. You had his whole thing with Donald Trump and stuff like that, and him basically cutting his fan base in half. And so from that point, I get why some people don't like it, but I definitely think it was overhated. I didn't mind the features. I thought the features were quite good, especially chart wise. They did quite well. I quite enjoyed the production of it. I mean, it was a bit too political for me, but that's mainly because I'm not American. I don't really get some of the politics side of it because it's not my place to really understand it. But as an album, it's definitely not one of the best, but it's definitely not the worst album he's done. That's why I've always said it's always overhated.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it certainly has this sort of view, especially online, that it's a terrible album, but it's not a terrible album.
It's mature content. It's what people asked for, but then as soon as he gives you mature content, it's he's just being too angry, or he needs to go back to how he was. And this is why I always send people that one clip out of the interview he did. People ask for mature Eminem. He does mature Eminem. People don't like it. They want old Eminem. As soon as he does old Eminem, he's too immature. So it's one of them albums. He was never going to win with it.
Nah, too right. Right, so we'll go from that album to the Marshall Mathers LP2. And Ross, just want your overall view on that as an album, and if you enjoyed the Rick Rubin production.
I'll tell you what, Marshall Mathers LP2 is like one of my favourite songs he's done. That's Rhyme or Reason and Evil Twin, actually. Both of those are like probably my favourites. I really enjoyed it. Again, that came a lot with a lot of Call of Duty promo for Ghosts at the time, so it was everywhere. So that was one thing I really enjoyed. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the album. It was really good.
Excellent. And then Blake, go from there to Relapse. I know that you're not into it as much as Jamie and me is, but what was your view on Relapse?
Even though obviously I'm not as big into it as you, because I'm more of a recovery boy. Do you know what I mean? Like Recovery's more my album, but Relapse as an album, it's still very good. Like it's got funny content, it's got funny skits. It's got deep songs on there like Beautiful. It's got songs where he just proves why he's a fantastic lyricist. Like I say, it's not one of my favourites, but I definitely wouldn't say it's bad.
Well, speaking about one of your favourites, Recovery, what your opinion on that as an album, and where do you rank it as opposed to the discography?
Well, for me, Recovery is always going to be number one. Just because that time period, that was when I was really, really getting into Eminem. Obviously, because I was still quite young at that time, it was one of those. Relapse came out. I was sort of getting, because I was still more learning about old school Eminem. Like the Marshall Mathers LP days, Slim Shady LP, underground, battle rap and stuff like that. And then when Recovery came out, mate, I loved it. Like I say, the opening track Cold Wind Blows is fantastic. Spacebound is crazily underrated. Even the main promo track, Not Afraid, it was all, to me, it was just extremely well produced. It was extremely well put together, and because of the time it came out, it's the album which sticks with me the most. So that's why it's always going to be my favorite. But as an album in his discography, I'd say if it's not in people's top 5 to top 3, I don't know. It's if it's outside of that, I'd be a little bit skeptical of him.
It's got a very strong features list as well, if I'm right in saying. So it's Rihanna, Lil Wayne, Pink, and there's probably someone else I've definitely forgotten, but I know that I only can remember those 3 from this.
Kobe as well.
Kobe, yeah, talking to myself. Yeah, that's right.
But
so
it was good as well how Relapse and Recovery, he did want to make it a tribute to Proof as well. It was also about his drug addiction. You know, he was at that point. Now he's getting past it and he can move on. So I just think it was a great concept.
Yeah, no, definitely well done. That era was really entertaining as well. That whole 2009, 2010 was it was good to see him back in the limelight as well. Jamie, will go even further back to Encore. If just to find out what your favourite tracks are, if any, from Encore.
I think Encore is a very good album. Like I've said previously, if we was going to get the Encore that he wanted to release, like he said in the double XL version he's just done with where the songs leaked and he had to put them on the bonus tracks. We As Americans is one of my favourite songs. Never Enough with Nate Dogg and 50 Cent. You got Mosh, that's a great
extended edition. If I'm right in saying they've still not announced a physical format of that, I would really like to see that happen very soon as well. And that is the album that we're going to talk about as well. It's my favourite album, and quite a lot of people that are listening's favourite album as well. So yeah, the Eminem Show, probably favourite track from the album is probably Say Goodbye Hollywood. But I think the strongest song from the album is either Sing for the Moment or Till I Collapse. Ross, what is your favourite tracks on this album?
Well, that's really tricky because there's a lot of like really good bangers on there. I really like Business. Yeah, Say Goodbye to Hollywood is up there. I don't know, it's so tricky. Superman as well. Superman's a bit of a classic. Like, I absolutely love the vocals on that as well, and obviously the obvious factor being it's a bit of a dig. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really tricky one because that album for me is good all over. But if you were to ask me what my favourite is, I just couldn't narrow it down. They're all quite on par.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, it's one of those Eminem albums where any song could be your favourite song. The album is that good. And even Superman, I think, Blake, Superman has gone, possibly viral on TikTok, so it's getting, close to 1 million streams a day.
Do you know what? It's pissing me off as well, that TikTok.
Yeah.
I've got to say it's getting on my nerves because this is how people are. I mean, I'm happy people are discovering Eminem, but I kid you not, I saw a tweet and it was earlier today, right? And there's a sped up version of the last bit of Mockingbird where he sings, "And Daddy's gonna buy you a mark," that bit, right? And someone goes, I went and downloaded the song. I'm quite disappointed that it's not how it's actually supposed to sound. I beg your pardon. What?
Yeah, TikTok is probably going to ruin music. It might do well for a few weeks when certain tracks go viral on it, but in the long run, it could obliterate and ruin the music industry. So hopefully, if there's another one that goes viral and it's an Eminem track, please make it something else and not a sped up version anyway. Jamie, yourself, the Eminem Show. If you had to pick, I'll give you two favourite songs from yourself. What would they be?
I'm gonna go a different route here. I'm gonna go Haley's song and My Dad's Gone Crazy. They'd be my two. They'd be my two favorite.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. So from that album before, we're going obviously backwards the way I'm doing this. So the Marshall Mathers LP, which Lazarus and Lone Star were saying that is their favourite album by Eminem. Ross, in terms of the album itself, it's obviously regarded as one of Eminem's best albums. What tracks stand out for you on that?
Like straight off the bat, Marshall Mathers is like at the top. That's just like if you were to like someone to go, oh, who's Eminem? Play that song. Like that's the best way to describe it. There's quite a few on that album that really sit with me. But again, Marshall Mathers is at the top. I'm just sort of trying to bear in mind that there's quite a few on there. Stan, that's a very good one. Obviously, with Dido from the UK, so that's a good one. The Way I Am as well. We talked about that earlier. You've got mate, I'm Back as well. Oh, this is the thing with Eminem. It's so mood dependent because I can go back and be like, oh, I really want to listen to this song today, and another one will come on shuffle, and I'm like, no, I'm not feeling that. But he's just got a catalogue on every album that just sort of fits every need. So yeah, probably Marshall Mathers is my favourite though.
Yeah, I think the only song that I don't really play nowadays is probably Kim, just because of how
I wonder why.
how mental it is, how crazy it is. You know what I mean? Like, that
I'll
song used to
blast that
terrify
song
me.
down the road. I'll
See,
put it on the speakers and blast it.
See, when that came out, I think 9 or 10 years old, and anytime the song would come on, I would skip it because I was terrified of it. Like, it took me like until I was maybe 11, 12, 13 before I could kind of listen to it. I was like, what is this? What
It
is
is
this track?
scarier than
It's like
scarier
a
than any
murder.
movie ever made. It is scarier than any movie ever made.
So from yourself, Jamie, what tracks are standouts for you on the album?
Oh man, I love I'm Back. I'm Back's probably one of my favourite Eminem songs. Marshall Mathers, The Way I Am, the whole album, man. It's just Under the Influence, Drug Ballad. It's just all bangers after bangers. Bitch Please too. Who knew? Like it's just kill you. How not someone said kill you yet? And I was just a little baby boy. My mama used to tell me these crazy things. Oh, it's insane.
The guitar riff from I'm Back is just something else. It's just so well done.
I'd love him to open shows with that again. I really would love to see him perform that live because that is the one thing that I would not critique. Critique's not the right word. I would change the way he does his set lists because this is going completely off topic, by the way. But from when I first saw him in 2011 to when I last saw him in 2018 at Twickenham, it's not that much different. The set list, I'd love him just to switch it up a bit. Do you know what I mean? And do songs that he's never performed or that he doesn't perform as much. I know, obviously, you've got to put in the hits. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to do the Not Afraid, Lose Yourself, Without Me, Stand, Love the Way You Lie. You've got to do all of them. Rap God, but I'd love him to filter in a few songs that he hasn't necessarily performed as much of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think that I'm Back should be, a song that he could start with. If it's just say that he was to do Glastonbury, could you imagine that guitar riff coming on
mate,
and then him coming out?
I'd pass out. I'd pass out there.
So we'll move on from that classic album to another, and the mainstream debut that was the Slim Shady LP. Blake, what's your views on that album, and do you have any favourite tracks from it?
Well, obviously it just kickstarted it all, really, doesn't it? I mean, it was just the wow factor it must have had when it, obviously, because I wasn't alive at that time, which it makes me want to cry, to be honest. But it's one of those where you can't fault the album. I mean, you've heard my terrible Ken Kniff impression. Do you know what I mean? So
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's one of those. I mean, you've got My Fault. You've got Come On Everybody, Rock Bottom. Obviously, the biggest one you could argue he's done. My Name Is. You've got Guilty Conscience. Oh, mate, it doesn't stop. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's one of those albums where you can understand why people say it's in the top 3. Do you know what I mean? Like Dr. Dre working on it.
Yeah,
It was just fantastic.
No, absolutely. So that
and the amount of times I've lost my voice recreating that skit, mate, it's unbelievable.
Well, the next show is a diss tracks, to be fair, but yeah, we're going to get you to do the kind of skit in the future, absolutely. So back from the Slim Shady LP to the debut, which was Infinite, that of course never really made much of an impact. It wasn't until he was writing tracks for the Slim Shady EP that he got Dr. Dre's attention, and then of course the rest is history. But out of the three of you lads, I'll start with Jamie. I don't know if you're big into the Infinite album, but if you are, do you have a particular favourite track from that album?
I'm not massive into the album, to be fair. I've listened to obviously the song Infinite. I think the song Infinite is a 10 out of 10 song. It's a different style, but you can see from back then the quality that he had, as in putting words together and putting a song together. Obviously, his style then changed up to the Slim Shady era, but I think I still play Infinite now, the song in my car, and I was looking to like I think you sent it down the other day about you can buy the copies or something. I was looking to do that to try and get it and listen to it fully.
House of Wax. Yeah, I've used them a few times, and like obviously they're not official, but like they are bootleg options and they are really good. So I
think I'll give that one a shout to see what that's like.
Yeah, definitely recommend using them. Right, so yeah, that's us sort of just quickly went through the albums that he's released.
You can't forget Maxine, mate. You can't forget Maxine. I'm not letting you slide without forgetting about Maxine. That album,
Maxine. Maxine needs a vaccine, and then 22 years later, she probably needed one because of the virus.
It's one of those as well. Like you can tell the leap he made from Soul Intent to his Infinite album. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, the tracks that he did around the Soul Intent time, obviously, not a lot of people know much about it. But, like, just how he changed it all up just to improve himself was phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. Like, when you go back and listen to it, like, you can see him progressing. And then when you listen to the Slim Shady EP, you can see him even getting better. And then, of course, that got the attention of Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, and then the rest, as I say, is history. Right, lads, we're going to talk about some rumours in the UK media. The Daily Mail have reported that a potential headline act could be him for Glastonbury. The Sun has also said it as well. A lot of people are very quick to reject these sort of rumours, but I mean, as much I've said in the past, the Daily Mail and the Sun, not the best media outlets in the world.
Not the best, mate. No, not the best to trust.
But when they do usually talk about UK festival lineups, they're usually thereabouts. They might not be bang on the money, but there'll be some sort of legit circumstance for it.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, ask yourself, Glastonbury 2023, Eminem, will he headline, yes or no?
I'm gonna say no, only because the Sun have reported it, and I remember back in the day the Sun reported that he was going to be a judge on X Factor, and that never come to fruition. So no, I don't agree. I don't believe a thing the Sun says. I hope so. Listen, I hope so, but in myself, I don't think it'll be next year. I think he'll do Glastonbury, but I don't think it'll be next year.
Okay, and the same question to Ross. 2023 Glastonbury, yes or no?
So tell you what, I don't really keep up to date with festivals and stuff like that, but I know that Glastonbury tickets go on sale in November, and there's a lot of people suggesting online that Eminem might be dropping an album in November, along with the fact that the Call of Duty logo was spotted in his music video or whatever. There's lots of hints pointing out something happening, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to do any festival next year. It's probably going to be Glastonbury. So I know full well if he's going, I'm going. And I don't care how much I have to pay for
I'm going
for
as
a
well.
second-hand ticket. I don't care.
We're
Sell
going.
my car.
I'll sell my child.
So yeah, I mean, as I said, you need to take some of these media outlets with a pinch of salt. So I think the lineups probably do get announced towards the end of the year. So we might find out before Christmas time if that is going to happen. So right, we're going to try and get some people on. We've had our two special guests, Lazarus and Lone Star Music. So thank you very much to them for joining us earlier on. This is just a special Eminem show for Eminem's 50th. So if anyone is wanting to jump on and have a quick chat, we are on Twitter. So if you are maybe listening on YouTube, log over to Twitter and try and tune in and request to speak. But before we do that, Ross, I just want to, anything you want to talk about Eminem related. You said there was something you said the other day on the group chat about other artists doing it at his age, or other people that have been doing it at his age.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, you mentioned Paul McCartney is like in his 80s, and I just don't think like there is really a stopping sort of moment and an age to retire in rap music. I feel like as long as it's coming out of you and you're still doing it to a standard that's like perceived as like credible and good, then he's still can put out music. Like you said, I'd like to see him going in his 60s as well. Like, it wouldn't faze me. I'm not going to find it any different. I've seen, completely off topic, and it's a little bit random, we all know it's a joke, but Pete and Bass, I don't know if any of you guys have heard of them.
Pete and Baz, come
they
on.
are in their 70s and rapping over drill beats. So if they can do it, I'm sure Eminem, who's been doing it for the last 20 plus years, is more than capable of continuing to make music. Like, you got Snoop Dogg, like Tech Nine, they're all getting into their middle age now, and they're still kicking it. Like, you heard Snoop Dogg on like the DC LBC, he was going nuts. I've not heard anything like that of Snoop before, and that's like probably 30 years now into his career. It's mad. So I really hope he doesn't stop anytime soon.
Too right. Right, we have someone that wants to join us, so we're just going to connect to him. Fellow Brit from the UK, it looks like, as well, Curtis. So just tune in and see if you can listen to us. Can you hear us, Curtis?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good. How are you guys?
Very good, very good. Do you have any questions or any topics you would like to discuss?
No, I'm just pretty much here, obviously to celebrate, the legacy of Eminem as much as anyone else is, mate.
What is your favourite album, if you had to choose?
Oh, God, now we're talking. I would say at the moment I've been listening to the Marshall Mathers LP #2.
Yep.
Very good album at the moment.
So how long have you been a fan of Eminem for?
Well, I started listening to Eminem back in late 2017, and pretty much from there, I've just loved every bit of his music.
Have you ever seen him live?
I saw him live back in, I think it was 2018, where he came to London.
Uh-huh.
And obviously it was a very, not like at the very front of the crowd, but it was near in the back, but it was a very amazing experience.
No, excellent. Well, now listen, thanks for coming on and joining us, and stay tuned, because we'll be continuing for the next couple of minutes anyway. So thanks, Curtis. Cheers.
And you, mate.
So we'll have another person, Michelle, if she's able to connect as well. Hello.
Hi.
We have a fellow Scot, if I'm right.
Hiya.
What's your favourite Eminem album?
It's the Eminem Show, definitely Eminem Show, because it takes me back to Hampden for the very first time that I saw him live. My brother and my sister were up in the VIP, and just actual see him on stage for the first time is phenomenal, absolute phenomenal. And the Ferris wheel thing was amazing, honestly, the best. I've seen him 5 times, but Hampden's got to be the best concert that I've been to.
So Hampden would have been what?
2003. 2003. Oh my God! See, obviously we were quite high up, but see, even if they come on the Ferris wheel, honestly, I was actually crying. I was actually crying because I just started listening to them about 2002, but my brother, he got me into Eminem, but sadly my brother passed away a couple of months ago, and I still listen to him for to live my legacy to live on kind of thing. And obviously being at that concert and actually seeing him on stage for the first time was phenomenal. But I saw him at Wembley as well. Wembley was good as well in Twickenham, but I've been to Belhouston Park twice to see him. But Hampden's got to be the best concert ever, definitely. Definitely.
Excellent. Superb. Right, well, thank you very much for that, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye-bye. So, yeah, lads, we'll even, as Michelle was saying about live shows, we'll get on to the subject of that. So, out of the three of you, we'll start with Jamie. Have you seen him live before? If so, whereabouts?
Yes, so I've seen him 4 times. So I went V Festival 2011 for the first time, Reading Festival 2013, Wembley 2014, Twickenham 2018. So yeah, the first time, like Michelle was just saying, the first time I saw him live, it was such a surreal moment, because I'm saying to my mum when the Relapse album came out, I was like, oh, this is on. She said to me, have you got a bucket list, what you want to do in your life? And I said, no word of lie, Mum, top of my list, I need to see this man live. I need to see him live. And I'd bought a ticket for V Festival. I had 2 tickets, and basically I needed somebody to drive me up there because I wasn't driving at the time. So I gave just a girl that I knew from the area that I lived. I didn't know her well. I gave her the ticket to drive me up there. So we drove to Chelmsford from where I lived. Early in the morning, I stood in the front of at the front of the main stage for 12 hours just to stay at the front to see him live. And yeah, man, that was the most surreal moment, seeing him live for the first time. It was incredible.
Yeah. Brilliant. Ross, what about yourself? Have you seen him live?
I tried to. I went to I bought a ticket online, someone was reselling it because they couldn't go. So I paid a stupid amount of money. I think it was nearly £200, but I was only like 15, 16. So I met my friend who lives up in London. We headed over to Wembley. I was stuck pretty much right at the back. And there were sound issues. I don't know if you guys knew that on one of the nights. There was issues with the sound traveling through the stadium. Yeah. So, and literally we were there. I could barely hear anything. I couldn't see anything because I'm really short. And then I was gutted. I was absolutely just traumatized by the fact that I couldn't go. I couldn't get a proper good sight. But I am planning on making sure I see him again, even if it turns out that in a year's time or 2 years' time that he's going to go to Rolling Loud or whatever. I will save up the money and I will go. It will happen.
Yeah, definitely. If it does return to the UK, all the guys that do this show, we definitely need to go down, go to it, and even probably do a show, do a pre-show, but before it as well. Blake, what about yourself? Have you ever seen him before?
I'm in the same issue as Ross, mate. There's been multiple times I was meant to go see him when he did Wembley, but that fell through. I was meant to go see him at Leeds, car issue, so never made it to Leeds. And then I was meant to go to the Twickenham, but I made the mistake of trying to buy a ticket off someone, got completely scammed. So yeah, I have had chances, but I've just never actually had the opportunity yet. But obviously, like you've just said, if the opportunity does come up in the UK, not asked how much it cost me, we have to go.
Definitely. So yeah, I've seen him 4 times. First time was 2010 at Tina Park, and then the second time was Glasgow, Belhouston Park, 2013. Same scenario as well. In 2017, it was the same venue, and then I went down to see him at Twickenham in London on 2018 as well. So, 4 times. Hopefully, there will be a 5th and final, or even more in the future. So yeah, fingers crossed that he does tour again. So yeah, lads, we'll start to wrap up the show. It's been a good hour we've been on for, and yeah, thanks to Lone Star Music for tuning in and talking to us, and thanks to Lazarus as well. Also, thanks to ePro for the help with getting it streaming on their YouTube channel as well. So yeah, guys, we'll leave that there. Ross, Blake, Jamie, thank you very much for joining us. And for those that have maybe never heard of us before, that we are called the Mainly Eminem Show, and we are available on all good streaming platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon Music. So yeah, we've got 5 episodes that we've done over the last couple of weeks and months. So tune into that, and there'll be more to come. We'll be having an episode dedicated to the diss tracks that Eminem has made throughout the years. So Quitter, I Remember, Hail Mary, Kill Shot. There's going to be a lot of discussion for that.
Warning.
Oh, the warning, Mariah. So yeah, there's plenty episodes to come in the future. There'll also be plenty of streamings through ePro as well. So yep, lads, thank you very much for joining us, and thank
Cheers,
you
man.
for everyone that's tuned in, and we will see you all soon.
Take care, Dan. Ta-ra, mate.
Cheers. Bye
In a
bye.
bit.